Daily Devotionals with open hearts and open minds. First United Methodist Church in Pueblo, Colorado presents Hope and Coffee with Pastor Hugo Venegas.
Hi, this is Hugo Venegas. Welcome back to Hope and Coffee. This week we're studying the face of hope, the power of intention. And the power of intention that God recognizes that when human beings set their minds to do something, and whenever they are united in intent, they can accomplish pretty much anything. And that's what we're seeing in Genesis, when Genesis chapter 11, when the people were building this tower. They wanted to do their own thing, and God had to come down and confuse them, because he realized that human intent is a powerful thing. We have seen that we have put a man on a moon because President John F. Kennedy said, we can do it, we can do it. President Reagan in 1984 says we can build a space center, and right now there are astronauts returning from that because we did it. We did it. The Wall of China was built. Bridges have been built. There is a tunnel in Europe that goes under the sea and up and can communicate country from country to country in Europe. So human beings have done incredible things. You go to Dubai and you see the highest building that was ever built there. We have done incredible things. The Panama Canal. And all I'm trying to do is that human beings can do incredible things. But it's also possible spiritually. In the spiritual life, we can do incredible things if we put our minds to it, if we believe in God, and if we have faith. Incredible things can happen. So I have a question for you, and the question is have you ever found yourself really in a bad situation, like in a really bad situation, and then a great idea came to you? Have you ever been in a really bad situation, and in the midst of that situation, a great idea came to you? I want to read a story about a woman in the New Testament who had an incredible, painful situation, and a great idea came to her. And if you can imagine it, it's very likely that you can accomplish it. If you can conceive it, it's very likely that you can accomplish it. So here is the story. It's in Mark chapter 5 and verses 25 through 34. And it's a story that you're familiar with. Let me read it and you will hear it. And a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she got worse. So this is a woman who has had some hemorrhage of a bleeding condition for 12 years. She spent all her wealth and on doctors trying to heal her, and she got worse and she got worse and lost her money and could not recover her health. She has struggled with this health condition for 12 years. And it says here in verse 27, when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I could just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Do you see what the idea is? She heard that there was this Messiah, this healer, and she goes, if I could just get close to him, touch his garment, I am sure I will be healed, because he's a prophet, he's a holy man. And she sets out with that idea to go find Jesus just to touch him so that she would receive her healing. If you can imagine it, if you can conceive it, it's very likely, if you have the faith, that it is going to happen. And it says here in verse 29, immediately she touched him and her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body she was freed from her suffering. At once, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned to the crowd and asked, who touched my clothes? You see, the people are crowding against you. There is pushing and shoving. There is no social distancing, Jesus. They're just pushing. The crowds are pushing to get close to you. How do you say, who touched me? Look, everyone is pushing in. And Jesus says, he kept looking around to see who had done it, because he knew power went out of him and someone touched him. Someone who had the intention to be healed just by touching him had done that, and power went out of him. And then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear told him the whole truth. And then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Do you see what happened? Why did this woman get healed? 12 years, losing all her money. She got worse. The doctors couldn't help her. And she goes, "If I could only touch the garment of Jesus, I could be healed. I could be healed." And she does that. And her intention communicates her, connects her with Jesus, and she is healed. This is the lesson that I want us to learn this week. That the power of intention, whenever we set our minds up to do, whatever we set our imagination to experience that Jesus can do for us, it's very likely that it could happen, because that is the power of human intention. And this woman was healed because she believed that Jesus could heal her just by touching his clothes. What do you believe Jesus can do for you? What are the impossible things that you have in your life that you're like, I need help with this? Is there a relative who is an atheist? Is there a relative who has never given their lives over to God? You bet it's possible, if you pray for them, that they can come to faith. Is there a business idea that you have? And we're in the midst of this pandemic, and we have had the report last week that this is the worst quarter financially in the history of a country that we have had. Do you believe that you could start a business in the middle of a pandemic and prosper? Do you believe that? All things are possible to him who believes. Now, there are several of you who are struggling because you want a cure. You want this to be over. What if we get a cure right down the road? I think that's possible. I pray for it every night, because if we just believe, and if we unite in an intent, it could possibly happen. And this is the lesson that we're trying to see and learn from this woman who made it her intent to receive healing, and it was done according to her faith. This is Hugo Venegas. Join me tomorrow as we continue to learn the power of intent, the face of hope. Hugo Venegas from Pueblo, Colorado. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us for our daily devotional, Hope and Coffee, with Pastor Hugo Venegas. If you enjoyed today's devotion, like or subscribe below. We also welcome you to join our family at First United Methodist Church in Pueblo, Colorado. You can visit our website at firstumcpueblo.org, and we hope you continue to have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow.